because it kind of looks like something that you would have above a baby's crib, or maybe something that you would pick up from Disneyland, not from Hermes. Hey guys, my name is G.P.S. and welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing one of your favorite types of videos, which at this point has become a full-blown tradition for me to do one of these every few months, which is my What's New from Hermes report. We'll be looking at everything new launching from Hermes for Spring-Summer 2021, other than ready-to-wear and bags, because when it comes to bags, Hermes is known for taking their time with new launches, but there are about 5 or maybe even 6 new styles of Birkins and Kellys that should be coming out in the new year. So I'll be sure to do a dedicated video on those in the next couple of weeks. But today we'll be looking at everything else. So if you're interested in seeing some new accessories, small leather goods, and most importantly bag charms that will be launching in the very near future, then please keep on watching. But before we get into talking about the actual products, I want to take a quick second to talk about the Hermes price adjustments that are happening across Europe. In case you've not been aware, Hermes is adjusting their pricing in Europe at the moment. I noticed late last year, just after the holidays, that they started removing their more popular products from their European websites, which some would think that is because of the holiday rush, that they just simply sold out, considering that most people didn't have a chance to go to the boutiques. They had to turn to the website. But it was interesting because they had quite a lot of stock left, at least it seemed like it, right after Christmas. But then just before the new year, the website was completely stripped. And then just after January hit, they started slowly uploading pieces at increased prices. Probably the same thing will happen globally. But in case you're interested in the exact new prices and specific pieces, make sure you follow me on Instagram, because I have been breaking down all the new prices of each more popular piece that people tend to be interested in. And if you want me to do a dedicated video on the price increase and everything we need to know, then be sure to give this video a thumbs up. I absolutely can. The reason why I haven't done it yet is because I want to see what happens in the States. Obviously, there is a 25% new tariff that might get implemented, which I want to learn more about before I do my video. I want to see if that tariff is truly going into effect this year, if it is, when it's actually happening, and how it's going to affect prices at Hermes. Is it going to be the additional 25% tariff that is going to increase the prices on top of a price adjustment? I don't know yet, so I want to wait and see. But if you're interested, be sure to let me know and give this video a thumbs up, so I know that that's a video that I should be working on. And without further ado, let's get into talking about some of the newest pieces. And let's start with fashion jewelry. The first line that I wanted to quickly talk about is actually not a brand new collection, but it is being expanded, which is the so-called CDC Sunset line, which launched mid-2020. And it was quite an interesting launch because Hermes came across this new cutting-edge technology that allows them to somehow mix paint and pigments into metal and create these really interesting pieces made of aluminium that have some really beautiful vivid colors to them. And this new technology allegedly allows them to create pieces that shouldn't chip, that shouldn't mark, that shouldn't scratch. So the color of the bracelet is somehow deeply embedded in the metal itself. So it's not just an overlay or an overspray that will come off over time. They should stand the test of time, which if you're someone who invested in any one of these pieces when they first launched, I would love to know your feedback if you have found that to be the case so far. And there were 2 pieces that launched with this new technology. One which was a reinterpretation of the iconic CDC bracelets, and one that took advantage of the sort of the Evelyn emblem that is present on the Evelyn bags. But anyway, these new pieces are being launched in a couple of different colors. So there are two new colors that I have seen personally. There is a new shade of pink that's launching, which is called Rose Couture. And then I remember seeing a green one at one point. But when I was trying to see if I can find any pictures of it, I couldn't. So please don't quote me on it. But I'm pretty sure I remember seeing a new shade of green that should be available soon. And then there are two new colorways, we can call them, I guess, that are launching with the exact same design, where the base of the bracelet is one solid color, but the so-called Medor pyramids and the ring itself will be in a different shade of the same color. And Hermes is playing around with this new sort of style of matching colors where they use colors within the same family, just different, very, very slightly different shades right beside each other. There is actually a new bag that's launching. Well, I might as well tell you here. There is a new GG coming out where the base, the body of the bag, the big majority of the bag is one shade of color. And then all the different accessories, so the H-tab, the closure, as well as the piping, I guess you would call it the piping or the finishing around the edges of the bag, is going to be a different shade of the same color. And then there are two more pieces that are launching in the so-called CDC aluminum line. So there is a newer bracelet coming out, which is a little bit thinner than the original version, which features two Medor pyramids and a ring in the middle. And it should be available in all the colors that the regular version comes in. And then last but not least, with the same design, there is also a hair piece launching, which I think is one of the hidden secrets of Hermes, these hair pieces, that they actually launch each season within their fashion jewelry category. So each year they launch some sort of a hair clip or hair accessory, either made of leather or horn or, in this case, metal, but they've also done pieces made of silk and different materials. And these pieces tend to be extremely popular. The day they launch is the day they usually sell out. And I have been told that these pieces tend to be extremely popular in Asian countries, so that's where the largest stock is. But it doesn't matter where they pop up online. Resellers tend to pick up as many of them as they can so they can resell them at higher prices, which is quite interesting. So if you're ever interested in any sort of hairpiece or hair clip by Hermes, you need to be on it. You need to let your home store know that it's something that you're interested in, and they should either be bought for you at podium events, or you should just ask them to keep an eye out for them for you, so as soon as they launch, you can pick up one of these. But there is a new hair clip launching with the CDC design, which I think is actually really, really cool. So if you're interested, this is the piece that you can pick up in all the different colors of the CDC Sunset range. Another fashion jewelry piece that's launching for the new year is actually part of their men's line, which is the so-called Click HH bracelet in a So Black finish. So the Click HH bracelet is pretty much the same idea and same concept as the original women's Click H bracelet. The main difference is the fact that it's more of a matte finish and that the H itself is a little bit more streamlined and boxy, but they're essentially the same idea and the same mechanism. And the men's version will be available in a matte So Black finish, which I actually do think is pretty cool. But in case you love this design, before you get your hopes up, I want to let you know that the sizing of these pieces is very different from the women's Click H. So if you're someone who has smaller wrists, there is no chance that you'll be able to pull any one of these off, because even I cannot wear their men's bracelets when it comes to the Click H line. The Click HH runs so big that when I purchased my Click H bracelet, I had to go to the women's line to pick it up from there and get it in a size T3, because even the smallest size in their men's line is way too large for me. So unless you have really wide wrists, it's very unlikely that you will be able to buy into the Click HH line. However, if you do and you like this design, you're in luck, because these should be launching pretty soon, I would say. Let's move on to small leather goods. And let me start with a piece that is 1000% being added to my 2021 wish list, which if you want to see a video on my 2021 wishes, do let me know in the comment section. But this is a piece that we've seen before, and I actually talked about this a few months ago in my last What's New from Hermes video, which I have a playlist for, so I'll have that link down below. And this piece was actually presented in Shanghai just a few months ago, And the more I look at it, the more I fall in love with it, which is a slim take on the Constance wallet, which the Constance wallet comes in two different sizes. It comes in a longer version and also in a compact version. But now it's also available in a smaller, much slimmer edition that is much more simplistic than even the compact edition. And it is this really small sort of little pouch with the H hardware on the front that has a couple of card slots on the inside, but it's not really organized or divided as the wallet itself would be. Instead, it comes with a little removable pouch, which you can obviously use for coins inside of the wallet. You can use it for cards or cash, or you can take it out and use it on its own. But this new take on these slim wallets, in my opinion, is genius. There are two designs currently. There is one with the H hardware, and then there's another one with the Ruly design on the front, which if you always like the Ruly, this might be a good way of adding it to your collection. And then on the back, they also feature both of the designs. This little tab that you should be able to pull a belt through, or maybe even a shoulder strap. So you can actually use this as a belt bag or make this really easily into a shoulder bag. And then one more piece that actually is also launching in Epsom is the Burn wallet with the So Black finish, which I want to take a quick second to talk about this new So Black craze that is happening at Hermes right now. And in case you're not familiar with the history of the So Black line, it was originally launched in 2010 by Jean-Paul Gaultier for Hermes, and it was an extremely limited launch. They only had a few pieces in the line and it was really short-lived. Rumor has it that it's because the technology that Hermes had at the time wasn't refined enough to perfect the hardware finish, and allegedly the metal finish would chip after a little while, and Hermes had no way of repairing it, so they had to stop producing these and just go back to the drawing board and see what else they can come up with. But because it was such an incredibly popular launch, there have been rumors out there pretty much for the past 5 years that Hermes will bring this hardware back in some capacity, which I absolutely love the sound of because I'm a huge fan of Hermes Black. But I feel like that they've sort of ruined the magic. The fact that now they're just throwing this So Black finish on everything they possibly can and seeing what sticks, I think has definitely decreased the value, and not just the financial value, but also the value that I associated with these limited pieces. I feel like if this happened a couple of years ago, if they just launched one wallet with the So Black finish, people would have gone crazy. But now we have the Click HH bracelet that's launching in black. They have the Burn wallet in this case, which is the mini Burn wallet that's coming in the So Black finish. They'll have the Be Happy bracelet launching in So Black. They have the Picotin in 18 and 22 coming in the new monochromatic lock. And also, at one point, I think the end goal is to have the So Black, BIRKIN, and Cali make a reappearance. They are just taking this and throwing it on everything that they can, which is very similar to what happened with the So Black Rodeo. The So Black Rodeo launched quite a while ago, at least 4 or 5 years ago at this point, if not maybe even longer than that initially. They were impossible to get. There was absolutely no way for you to get them after they initially launched. Each store, based on what I was told, received a very small stock, and once they were gone, they were completely gone. And then years later, Hermes brought them back. I think about 2 years ago is when they officially relaunched. And ever since then, they have been constantly coming out with more and more and more of them. And the market at this point is completely oversaturated with So Black Rodeos. You can go onto any resale site and find them pretty much nearly for what they retail for, which was not the case a couple of years ago. They used to sell for like $3,000-$4,000, which I'm definitely not saying that's right. All I'm saying is that the fact that they produce so much of these pieces nowadays and they just kind of throw around these design features, I'm not loving, so I don't think that this is a piece that I'll be adding to my collection. And then lastly, let's move on to a few back charms, which have been all the craze on social media. And so many of you guys have been kind enough to tag me in pictures, send them to me, ask me if I know about them. Obviously, the first rodeo that I have to quickly touch on is the Rodeo Touch, which is launching with the Matte Alligator hardware. Not hardware, Matte Alligator saddle, sorry. So that is one that we've already talked about before, so I have that video linked up here. But we have a picture of another equally special rodeo that's launching in spring summer, which is the so-called Pegasus Rodeo, which has been equipped with this really interesting wing instead of the saddle. And this wing element is going to be a recurring design feature in all of our Hermes designs, considering that it's part of the theme of 2021. And this new rodeo that we have here, I'm not sure if this is going to be available in different colors. So far, I've only seen this one colorway, which is different pastel shades put together. And I'm actually not loving this. I have no doubt that this is going to be an extremely popular launch, but I will definitely not be waiting in line to get this. I like that it's unique, I like that it's special, but I think it is definitely leaning towards kind of childish and juvenile at this point. I like rodeos, but I am kind of picky with which ones I go for. Some of the ones that are in the different tri-colorways I cannot get on board with. I definitely prefer the ones that are one solid color. So unless the Pegasus one comes out in one solid color, I will definitely not be picking it up, because it kind of looks like something that you would have above a baby's crib, or something that you would pick up from Disneyland, which I don't think is quite the idea that Hermes is going for. But if you love these sort of more playful designs to add onto your bags, by all means go for it. But I would highly recommend that you put in a request with your home store so they know that you're interested, because I have a feeling it's going to be a limited launch. And I actually think that it looks quite cute being on the bolide bag, which is the picture that I have been seeing around. So maybe this is your chance to pick up a bolide bag, a mini bolide alongside with it, which is a bag that I absolutely adore. And the last bag charm, which I have no doubt will excite many of you out there, is actually a piece that's quite reminiscent of the Cali Twillies, which launched middle of 2020. And it's actually a piece that I have in my collection, so I'll make sure to have my unboxing linked up here. But in case you're not familiar with the Cali Twillies, they are essentially a miniaturized version of the iconic Cali bags. And it's a piece that, it kind of hurts me to say this, but it's a piece that I have been pretty disappointed in. And it's because it's extremely limiting in terms of what you can do with it. Obviously, it is sold as a back charm, but I was hoping that maybe it's one that I can do a little bit more with. I was hoping that maybe I can carry it on its own as a little micro bag, maybe add a shoulder strap to it and make it into an accessory. And I'm finding it's not really something that you can do with this bag because it's so extremely tiny. And even if you open it up, which you absolutely can, it's completely functional. But even if you open it up, there is really nothing that fits inside, and I wasn't planning on carrying things inside of it, but I was hoping I would find a way to attach a shoulder strap to it, and I'm yet to do that, even though I have been playing around with it for, I think, over 6 months at this point. So it's definitely not one that is made to be functional. And it doesn't even work as what it's supposed to work as, so a back charm. Because I find that if you put it on a bag, you have to be extremely careful with it. It's actually quite a nerve-wracking experience carrying it on a leather bag. Because I find that the charm has the tendency to turn around, and as soon as it turns around, you want to make sure that you immediately turn it back. Because the twist closure is actually quite a sharp hardware. And if you find that it digs into your leather bags, it can leave a terrible mark behind, especially if you're someone who carries it on a Cali bag that you want to put over one shoulder or maybe even crossbody. The last thing you want to be doing is having your Cali on your side, swinging your arm around, and accidentally the Cali twilly turns around and the hardware gets caught in the leather, because it can absolutely leave a mark behind or even tear the leather for that matter. So you want to be really, very careful with it. And every time I was carrying the Cali Twilly on one of my bags, one of my leather bags, I find myself constantly looking at it and checking on it and making sure that it's in the right position, which is just extremely draining. So it's not a piece that I have really been able to take advantage of. I did put it on my Dior book tote a couple of times, but it doesn't fit the aesthetic as well as it obviously fits other Hermes bags. So it's just something for you to keep in mind in case you're planning on picking up this piece. But the Cali twilly is being redesigned to fit the aesthetic of the so-called Cali Door pieces. The Cali Door bags were originally extremely limited and rare bag designs that were designed in 2000 by Jean-Louis Dumas, who, in case you're not familiar with, he is sort of the godfather of Hermes. By no means I'm saying that he's the founder of Hermes, but he is part of the family behind Hermes, and he was the man who, I would say, single-handedly turned this heritage brand into the luxury empire that it's known as today. Obviously, Hermes has been around for a long time, but it was known for a pretty long period as this brand that was mainly popular among more mature women. And then Jean-Louis Dumas came around, he put his magic hands on it, and now everyone wants to get a part of it. He was the chairman and the artistic director of the brand for quite a few years, and he launched so many incredible pieces, one of them being the Cali Door Bag, which is a piece that I know is extremely coveted. Many people want to add it to their collection for a very good reason because it is extremely rare. So initially it launched, and then I believe in Japan people went absolutely crazy for it. And it did become something that Hermes started launching as part of their bag offerings. For a little while, it was around here and there and you could pick it up in store. And then at one point, it was a piece actually a few years ago that you had to special order. And I'm not talking about the same special order experience that you go through when you place an a la carte bag or a bag that comes with a horseshoe stamp. This was a special order that you had to place through your store director or your store manager, who would offer you the opportunity to create special wishes. If they felt that you have sort of earned your place or you were an established client that they would trust to offer you this unique experience. So you could absolutely place a special order for this. Your store manager would pass on your order to Paris, and if they accepted your order, they would create a bag specifically for you. And I think that's still probably the best way to place an order for this bag. However, I have been seeing it popping up here and there. It's one that I'm seeing more and more of being sold at boutiques. Just a piece that's being offered to obviously their best clients. So if you've always wanted a Cali Door bag, it is a piece that I have been, as I mentioned, seeing around again. But thankfully, if you're interested, you will have an even higher chance of getting it in the next year, because they're launching it in a new back charm version in 2 different colorways. So if you love this design, this is coming your way really, really soon. I'm sure a lot of people will go absolutely crazy for this. To me, this is definitely way too funky and childish for me to justify buying this. I have a feeling that these are going to be near $4,000. That would be my guess, just based on the price of the original Cali twilly. I think because of all the added details and the craftsmanship and the fact that it does also come with a leather strap, whereas the Cali twilly only came with a little twilly strap. I have a feeling that these are going to be near $4,000, maybe even $5,000. But if you're an avid Hermes lover and you really have everything on your collection and you don't even know what else to add, this might be something special that you want to look into. But this is really it. This concludes today's video on everything new launching from Hermes for spring-summer 2021, or at least everything that I felt was worth talking about. But I would love to know what you guys are most excited for. If I had to pick a piece, I would definitely choose the Constant Slim. I think the design and the proportions are just everything that we ever needed. So I'm really excited about that launch. Do let me know which piece is on your wish list. Are there any pieces that you have already put in a request for? Do let me know in the comment section. And if you enjoyed this video, then please make sure to give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you being here and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.